name is Anne Marie, and today I wanted to give a July tour of my garden. I garden in Zone 6A. You can see the first garden tour I did in June on my channel. I had that in 2 different videos, but I think this one I'll be able to do it in one. So starting over here with the onions, there's been a lot of change with the onions. So you can see right there, they are starting to bulb. I am very excited about these onions. So these are the Walla Walla onions. There you can see a little bit better. So what I've been doing is coming out here, and I weed, and then also I am loosening the soil around the different plants. So you can see here, I planted a little deep, so I've just been going through and loosening up that dirt, really getting down to the bottom to allow it to bulb. But yeah, it's all starting to bulb and looks great. The Utah onions are a little bit behind compared to the Walla Wallas, but that's okay. Yeah, I'm very excited about these. Moving up from the onions, you can see that I have a couple of basil plants here. I did just take some this weekend and dried them, so hopefully they're starting to grow a little bit more. And then I have my pepper plants. So what's interesting about these particular pepper plants, I do have some bug damage here. I have yet to catch anything actually eating it, but obviously something's eating it. I finally am starting, you can see back there, finally starting to see some peppers. It's been a while because a lot of the peppers have ended up like this, where they start to form and then the flower just kind of dies. So hopefully I'll be getting some peppers soon. On the other side of that, I still have a little bit of cilantro left. This part of the yard is shaded, so it's not going to get direct sun. This is just a whole Mod Podge of flowers. They're doing really well. I think they're starting to die back now. I can see some of the leaves are browning, but the bees absolutely love this blue flower. Right behind it, I have my little cherry tomatoes. I have quite a few on here. And there we go. They are chocolate cherry tomatoes. And I have my first blush right there. So I'm excited. I've never had these before. They're pretty spindly, which is interesting. So I have a whole bunch of different clusters, but yeah, in between they're quite spindly. So I did have to take a lot of the bottom leaves off because we had a very rainy May and June. Actually, I think April, May, and June. And so I've had a lot of blight, which is normally something. I don't normally see blight until mid-August, maybe September. And look, these are all of my San Marzano tomatoes, and they were just really hit hard with blight. I've taken a whole bunch of these leaves off, and just more keep developing. It just keeps spreading. I am using the copper fungicide, but still it's just pretty pervasive right now. So I'm hoping that I can at least get the tomatoes I do have to harvest. But these San Marzanos are interesting because there's not a lot of clusters. Well, now that I'm counting it, I guess there are. But so I hope they develop more so I can get as decent sized tomato harvest. The next bed is my carrot bed. You can see we have had some really hot weather, and so these carrot tops have really grown significantly. They haven't bolted, so that's good. So I'm hoping that I can get a good harvest of carrots this year. but definitely a significant difference from June. Behind my carrot bed, my next bed, I have right here are my Roma tomatoes. Now look at the size of these guys. They're so much bigger. I love my Roma tomatoes. They look amazing, and there's a whole bunch of clusters of flowers. They are everywhere, and they do have some blight, but not nearly as much as what has affected my San Marzanos. So you can see, size-wise, there's some pretty decent sizes. I have, and again, here's my San Marzanos. I'm going to come in here later today and cut some more of these branches off that aren't looking so good, and then spray it again with the copper fungicide. Again, my Romas look amazing, and there's lots of clusters of flowers that are starting to develop. And yes, I will admit, I use tomato cages, and I've outgrown all of the tomato cages that I have. And this is pretty much what happens to me every year. I think I'm going to contain them, and I don't. It's okay. We'll go through and hope for the best. I'll cut off some of the ones that have blight, and we'll get that taken care of. And then I will also go through and take off some of the limbs like this one right here. I'll just cut this off because it'll take some of the weight off of that particular branch. But other than that, yeah, we're at the point where they're pretty well developed, and they're starting to really go a little hog wild, which is okay. I will bring out my blacklight to start looking for tomato hornworms. I'm sure I have some. It's just a matter of time when they show up, but I want to make sure I get them early enough, and that blacklight really will help. Over here, they were super tiny last month, but now you can see that they've grown. Funny story about this, these are all zucchini, so this half of the bed is yellow. This half is the green zucchini. I can't remember the variety. I think maybe Black Beauty. I didn't think they would come up, which is why I have two next to each other so close, another two next to each other so close, two here that are next to each other. I just completely did not think they were going to come up, and so I clearly didn't give them enough time, and here I am. Hopefully I'll have a lot of zucchini. I do like to freeze it and keep them for the winter. And I have a potato plant. I think they're hanging in there, barely. I mean, they certainly are seeing a large amount of bug damage. So I misspoke, and I thought that these in my last video were slugs, because they are gross and they look like slugs. What they are actually are the larva version of a potato bug. Interesting. So what I do is I usually pick the leaf off and I throw it on the ground, and I will stomp on it. Hey, behind the zucchini, I have some more Roma tomatoes. Now these are like my favorite, so I'm probably going to seed save from these. They're huge, and I'm excited, and the plant looks super healthy and really has not been affected by the blight. So it's starting to trail down. And then you can see here, there's some really large fruit there. They're just really, really large. They're enjoying this heat. We're in the middle of a heat wave right now. And so, yeah, they're really thriving. I even, had to bring this little mini greenhouse over, and just to support this whole bunch of tomatoes, because as you can see, I just have this tiny little tomato cage that might as well not even be there, to be honest with you. I really only trim the stems in order to lighten the weight and to create airflow. That's really it. I think the 1 year I decided to cut all the suckers out and do all the things that others recommend, I had my lowest yield of all the years I've been gardening. And so for me personally, it may work for you, it may not, but for me, it definitely does not. I feel that when I just selectively prune my tomato plants, it keeps them healthy and it doesn't take away from any of my fruit production. So moving over to the other side of the garden, I do have these two little tomato plants, these lone tomato plants over here. And again, they are just full of fruit. Looks like I will be having some wonderful tomato spaghetti sauce making session. So I'm excited about that. In the bin next to it, I have a couple of plants. I have spaghetti squash and I have butternut squash. I'm not sure which one is which, to be honest with you. I just kind of put them in and yeah, I guess we'll be surprised. Moving this way, you can see my green beans look amazing. So they're starting to flower, which is wonderful. But I still have a lot of green beans, both frozen and canned in my house from last year. It's not like I'm in a rush for green beans. I would love to have some for fresh eating and really enjoy some for, I think either freezing or canning. And then another set of potatoes. Again, my potatoes are on their way out, but I know I have some really good potatoes at the bottom. I've kind of took a little peek. And actually, what's interesting is that the potato plant that's over here in this planter, right there, is looking amazing. So again, I did a little short on my unintentional experiment. So this one has all of the dirt and no leaves. These bags of potatoes actually have dirt, followed by the potato, followed by a little bit of dirt, and then a bunch of leaves. That is kind of the messy corner of my garden, sorry. So coming back this way, we have, I have a bed of weeds. So there's one. I was able to harvest all of my broccoli and all of my cauliflower. So all of the cauliflower was in here and in the bed behind. I had a whole bunch of broccoli. I can put some pictures in now. While I was picking the broccoli, I came across this lonely Brussels sprouts plant. I don't know, got mixed in with the broccoli, but that's okay. That's barely a head. That's the tiniest head I've ever seen, as is that. I'm probably going to pull them. I mean, at this point, like today it was 90 something degrees. It's pretty hot. This cabbage is probably going to be bitter as all heck, especially that one right there. I'll give it a shot, but who knows. Just to finish out this side, here's that sage plant that's in the shop vac. I, again, harvested a whole bunch of this over the weekend and dried it. So, but it grows back so fast. More potato plants that are again at the end of their life. I think within the next week I need to pull these. Like these are dead completely. So we will do that. And then I have my marigold with a little pepper back there. He's kind of on the struggle bus. This is a purple beauty. And then in here, well, I have weeds. And then at the top I have some huge Brussels sprout plants. Next to the Brussels sprouts, I have my bed of corn. Oh, I am so excited. Look. Oh, this is the first time I've ever had corn, and I am beyond thrilled. I am so excited. This whole bed it just looks phenomenal. It is loving this heat. And so this is the Buy-licious corn. It all came up. It all did really well and is doing well. So now I just need to make sure that I manage the pests. From what I understand, worms that can affect the corn, they love the silks. And so what I need to do is, as these silks pop in, I need to start spraying it with some BT, which I will. So behind this corn bed, I have, oh, yeah, this thing. So this is sweet meat pumpkin. What is interesting about this is that it has so many male flowers, and it has very little female flowers at this point. I think they're coming. They haven't set yet. So I think maybe this plant had one, and then just the flower never opened and, kind of fell off. So coming around here, I have this plant that's popping out of the corn. I believe, well, I'm not exactly sure. I've lost all control of this bed. I mean, look at this. It's just, yeah. Every year I plant spaghetti squash or pumpkins and whatnot, and I always say, I am going to be responsible and I am going to control it. Yeah, there's no controlling it. It's a hot wreck right now. The corn that's in here are peaches and cream. Honestly, I don't expect a lot. These are a lot smaller than the Bilicious, and that's okay. A lot of them are getting strangled by the pumpkins and spaghetti squash and etc. I mean, look at that. Look at that thing. Ugh, like, it's so funny. It's just everywhere. It looks beautiful. And I have another one right there. I have another one right there. And then there's another one on the ground right there. So we have quite a few of these spaghetti squash. What I am missing is some butternut squash. So I'm hoping the butternut squash will form some female flowers at some point soon, so I can get those pollinated. Coming back to the front of the garden, in front of the sage, I have this dill plant here. Again, I harvested a lot of dill over the weekend and dried it, so that's good. Also with this oregano, which is getting really big. I harvested a bunch this weekend, and look at these banana peppers. So I have a whole bunch of banana peppers, so I have a whole bunch growing. I'll definitely save seeds from this one. This is a very good plant, and I actually made some pickled banana peppers the other day, and I put that recipe on shorts, so those are really good. Hey, in front of the banana peppers, I have my 3 eggplant. Here is beginnings of a little baby eggplant. I've already harvested 2 eggplants, and as a matter of fact, tonight I just made some eggplant parm. It was amazing. I used 2 of these round eggplants and then some canned spaghetti sauce that I canned up last year from our tomatoes. So that was pretty cool. Bugs have also found them. Every day I come out and squish something new that's eating my plant. Here I have some peppers. You can see finally, I'm very excited to say I've got little peppers growing. So that makes me very happy. These all look great. When I bought them years ago, they were called Trident peppers. I have seeds saved ever since. And they're little ancho chili. So it's a little ancho chili pepper. They are delicious. They are so good. Yeah, they're amazing. And then, the peas, it's just really hot. So I really did a poor job of these peas. I didn't harvest very many. I think I got enough for one meal. I did poor management of that plant. But then I have a couple of sweet meat pumpkins here. You can see them going up. They meet in the middle and then come back down. I have several of these plants. So if you look at, there's one pumpkin, there's a second pumpkin, and then I have one hanging right there. So I'm really excited about these particular pumpkins. And then I have some more potatoes. Again, the potatoes are just about ready to come out. I think they're pretty much done for the season. So I will probably be working on that in the next week or so. Thank you for taking a tour of my raised bed zone 6A garden. We've gotten some good stuff out of this garden so far, and I have high hopes that we'll be getting more produce out of it soon. So thank you. I hope you enjoyed this tour. I really appreciate you watching. Thank you.